Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing tools trying to keep your business running smoothly? What if you could simplify it all with one platform? That's where Go High Level comes in, your all-in-one sales and marketing solution built for small businesses like you. In fact, Go High Level has over 1 million users just like you. With Go High Level, you can capture leads, automate your prospect and client journeys, quickly and efficiently build stunning websites, sales pages, and sales funnels. Imagine managing your CRM, email, SMS, and funnels without duct taping a dozen tools together. Plus, their unlimited plan lets you add as many contacts and users as you need, no hidden fees. We've been using Go High Level for over a year now and absolutely love it. In fact, Profit First Nation is also powered by Go High Level. Ready to level up? Start your Profit First Nation extended 30-day free trial today at www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. That's www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. Streamline your workflow, impress your clients, and grow smarter, not harder.
Hello, Profit First Nation. It's Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First. If you've been looking for a bank account to help you do Profit First right, NorthOne has got you covered. It's the only business account with built-in tools designed in collaboration with and endorsed by me, Profit First Professionals, and Profit First Nation. With NorthOne, you can set up Profit First envelopes with a single click and leverage the NorthOne technology to automatically facilitate your allocations with every deposit. 320,000 businesses are using NorthOne to simplify their cash management and get back to what they love. And how cool is this? Profit First Nation listeners get a $50 bonus when they open and fund an account. Go to profitfirstnation.com and click on step number 1 to access the NorthOne bonus link and open your NorthOne bank account to do Profit First right. NorthOne is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services provided by the Bancorp Bank, member FDIC. Profit First Nation listeners get a $50 bonus when they open and fund an account. NorthOne envelopes let you designate a portion of your balance to view on the mobile app or website to help you stay organized. For more information, see our deposit account agreement. Welcome to Profit First Nation, the official podcast for entrepreneurs who are operating their businesses in the zone of permanent profitability. I'm Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, and now, here's your Profit First Nation guide, Daniel Mulvey.
Welcome to Profit First Nation, the podcast for the top 17% of entrepreneurs with cash in the bank to correlate to their profitability. Profit First Nation is the podcast for intelligent entrepreneurs who have taken ownership of their financials and leverage Profit First as a cash management system to make their businesses permanently profitable. I am Danielle Mulvey, an expert at guiding entrepreneurs on owning their financials in as little as 11 minutes per day and doing Profit First right. If you are a fan of Profit First and its author, Mike Michalowicz, you have found your tribe. We are a nation of successful entrepreneurs driven to be permanently profitable with a grit and a growth mindset that lets no obstacle stand in our way in pursuit of the 3 Ps: passion, profit, and play. On Profit First Nation, we dive into advanced Profit First strategies, and we share the honest and authentic ups and downs of being a business owner. Well, it's episode 105. It's an episode ending in 5. That means our favorite Billy Ann Grigg, the Chief Profit First Guide at Profit First Professionals, is joining us. Welcome back, Billy Ann.
Thanks, Danielle. I always love these episodes.
And you brought an extra special treat today. You brought a special guest. So I'd like to introduce Eytan Bensoussan, who is the CEO and co-founder of NorthOne Bank. This is exciting stuff because NorthOne is actually an official partner now with Profit First. And so you guys have been clamoring for it. You guys, our number one question is, where do I accomplish step number one? How do I get my butt to the right bank to open up my Profit First accounts? And the answer is NorthOne. So welcome, Eytan, to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
And what's cool is we were chatting before we hit record here, and you actually, before you maybe even thought about founding a bank and becoming CEO of a bank, you actually read Profit First many moons ago. Tell us about that.
So once upon a time, my friend was setting up a business, and he asked me for some help, and so we naturally went online and bought about 5 or 6 books that we thought could be really helpful to get him on the right path. And one of those, really fortunately, was Profit First. And so we sat there and just poured through it, and the other ones quickly went to the wayside. And he essentially built his business with me around Profit First, and he's been running it for a few years since. But this is where I saw what the kind of rigor that Profit First brought to an entrepreneur who's blocking and tackling on everything, and this gives you a real good fail-safe way to make sure that the business that you're building actually lets you make a profit. And so that experience really marked me. As I went on to start other things in life, which then was eventually turning into NorthOne, it never left the differentiated experience that my friend had before and then after Profit First. And it always was at the back of our mind. We were designing the platform to say, well, how do we make it really easy to bring that kind of value to other small business owners, especially those who would use NorthOne? And so, we've gotten there. We've gotten part of the way there, at least.
So, Billy Ann, tell us about how this relationship has really come together between Profit First and NorthOne.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just kind of to speak to the point, Danielle, that you said at the very beginning, doing Profit First right. That is what we want all the Profit First users to do. And NorthOne helps with this. We love Eytan's passion for Profit First. His whole mission, his whole team's mission to help entrepreneurs do business better really, really resonated with us. So 100% it was a cultural fit. And then we started looking at what they had built so far in terms of their product. And we could see the opportunity there to really work together to create something truly spectacular to help business owners do Profit First right and really attain that level of financial freedom that Profit First offers.
And so the online banking platform launched in 2019. So we're not talking about something that just started, a month ago or something. NorthOne has established this methodology, and I think you guys use the term envelopes. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So why don't you guys explain a little bit about, what someone could expect? I mean, they've just read Profit First and they are ready to go for step number one. They're ready to get their butt to the bank. But in this case, they don't have to go anywhere. They just have to log in to NorthOne. And so what is it like when someone is completing step one of implementing Profit First and getting those 5 accounts set up?
Yeah, well, let me just maybe give a little context here, because we're trying to reverse part of the order. We want to bring the bank to the butt, so to speak, right? We want to put it in your pocket. We don't want the entrepreneur to have to move anywhere. They got to keep on building. And so part of what NorthOne was always about was, how do we undo all of the busy work and the load that rests upon the shoulders of entrepreneurs? How do we remove that from them so that they can just get on to building their company? And the first step for that was to think, well, let's bring the banking services to where they live and where they work. But more importantly, I think even more broadly, what we really want to do is bring the best business financial management rigor and tooling to small businesses. It's almost as if in the best version of the world, we'd set up the basics of a finance department through the platform for every small business owner. And there's no better shortcut to getting there than starting them off on the Profit First journey. I mean, what an incredible way to fast forward them through so many years of trials and error until they figure out I should have been just doing Profit First all along. And so when you set up NorthOne, you do it from essentially your couch if you want to, and then very quickly, as soon as you're onboarded, you'll get an FDIC insured business checking account, a debit card in the mail. the ability to deposit checks remotely, move money by wires or ACH. We have a pretty vast cash deposit network where one can go to Walmart, Walgreens, 7-Eleven, Office Max, and a few other stores where you can actually deposit cash at those stores and have it deposited directly in your bank account. And then, that's the operational part. And then when you get there, you're able to start creating a system of envelopes where you can start sequestering money for different purposes. And this is where, we start on our own version of the profit first journey for these entrepreneurs, where, if you understand the profit first methodology, you start realizing, well, here's my first five, right? Here's where those five accounts or in our case, envelopes start living, and we can start building from there. And, one of the things that we've been working on is how do we get that experience closer and closer to the authentic profit first experience? Because that is, in my view, probably the best and most efficient way of getting entrepreneurs onto a healthy track. And so we want to very quickly, humbly get them to the profit first methodology as quickly as possible.
So when someone opens up an account with NorthOne, you mentioned like right off the bat, they get a checking account with a debit card, et cetera. And then you have the envelope systems. Are the envelopes subsets of that primary checking account, or are those envelopes actually other individual checking accounts in NorthOne?
They're currently subsets of the main account.
So explain a little bit then, walk me through the fact that which account do you treat as your income account? And then if you're running operating expenses and such, then how does that work with the debit account card? How do you, what's the naming convention and the structure? Is that first account considered your income account?
So right now, we've got entrepreneurs and especially profit first, entrepreneurs who are creating their own versions of this. You can create as many envelopes as you want, and then you can actually have money move between them in programmatic ways. You can take a percentage of all revenues goes into this envelope, and every few days or few weeks you top up this other envelope with a fixed amount. So the idea that money should move between your envelopes is the kind of the first way in which you can start building out your profit first methodology within NorthOne's envelope system. And because we've actually seen a lot of folks start creating literally the naming convention from the Profit First book in the account, we've actually been working with Billiane and her team to get that even closer, right? Create a lot more fidelity between the experience of opening up an envelope and actually getting yourself immediately set up with the Profit First templates. And that's coming out fairly soon.
And Eytan, I'm glad that you brought that up because I was wondering, okay, how much should I say here? NorthOne, as it's currently set up, it's ready to go. I mean, you can use it for Profit First. Now, with that said, there's a little bit of a rejiggering that has to go on to make sure that your income account is your income account and your OPEX account is the account that your debit card is actually tied to. This is something that's under development. And this is why we're so excited to work with NorthOne, because we've found a partner in them that is willing to work on the development to create something that's ideally suited to Profit First, to where we won't have to have any sort of reconfiguration.
Okay, so Billiane, why don't you explain the differences and sort of how the actual kind of under the hood setup is in NorthOne? We don't have necessarily the 5 checking accounts. There's just a slightly different terminology and functionality in NorthOne.
Exactly. So with NorthOne, instead of having 5 separate checking accounts, you have one main business account and the ability to create an unlimited number of envelopes, really. But for the purpose of Profit First and a Profit First setup, you would create 4 envelopes. So your main account would be your income account, and then you would create envelopes for profit, owner's comp, tax, and OPEX. And those all act as reserves or holds for your Profit First funds. Now, what really excites me about this is the level of customization that NorthOne allows you to have in exactly how this works for your business. So it's the best of both worlds. You can customize it, but you're still staying true to the Profit First principles. And that's something that I believe Eytan is a bit more equipped to go into the detail with than I am. So I'm just going to pass that off to Eytan at this point.
Yeah, of course. I think you nailed it. What we've done at NorthOne is started on a journey to make the bank account experience as similar to the ideal Profit First experience as possible. And so, there are many ways that we do this. And the way that our Profit First entrepreneurs use this today is as follows. When they receive money in the account, they can assign a percentage of it to be immediately allocated to one of their Profit First envelopes. And so that happens automatically. So think of, X percent of all incoming revenue goes to this envelope or that envelope. The other way that they can do it is they can just move lump sums where, dollars accumulate in their main income account. And then they decide to move 500 here, 1,000 there. There are different people who like to do it different ways. And then conversely, when money leaves the account, again, we make sure that there is a level of fidelity between how that money moves and how Profit First works. So when it comes to ACHs or wires, you can actually withdraw those directly from an envelope. You can actually send the money directly from an envelope to, online. And whenever a debit card withdrawal is made, well, that withdrawal comes into the main account, and then you can then fill up the credit by assigning it to one of the sub accounts. So you take money from that sub account and you then replenish wherever that credit comes from. We call that the reconciliation step because it is one debit card for the main account and the envelopes. So we have a way of assigning that debit card charge to the envelope.
So it's similar to like in QuickBooks where when you're syncing up to QuickBooks and you see the debit, you can assign which account that debit goes to if you haven't synced up all the accounts. But also too, you mentioned one thing about the automation or the manual transfers or allocations from that income account. So remember, we're going to, if you have contractors or you have commissions or you have sales tax, that's when you're going to designate specific dollar amounts, not necessarily percentages. You're going to take that out of your total revenue account and such and move that to your sales tax account or move that to your contractor's account or your cost of goods account and such. And then what you're going to do is what's left in that income account after you've moved those sort of like hard dollar expenses is then what's left in your income account is then going to be allocated by percentage by your current allocation percentages for where you are in your rollout plan based on percentage to the profit account, to owner's comp, to tax, and then to OpEx. So that is very, very cool.
Exactly. And at this point, I just want to kind of chime in and say, this all sounds very esoteric in theory when we're talking about it. And I can just kind of see some listeners thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds so complicated. It's really not. It's definitely one of those examples of once you get in there and start using it, you realize how easy it is. So conceptually, it sounds kind of complex. In practice, it's super, super easy.
And this is really unprecedented too, to have this much flexibility. As I mentioned, actually, I didn't mention it. I'm just highlighting what Eytan said. But you can automate the allocations from that primary checking account, which we'll call your income account. You can automate the allocations based off of your current allocation percentages to those designated accounts, which, no other bank does. I mean, everyone, you have to, do the calculations separately, and then you have to really go in and do those manual transfers into your other accounts. So this is really been designed and built for Profit First. So awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just want to clarify, we looked at a lot of different providers and solutions, from apps that would move the money for you that connected to your bank account, but it wasn't in real time. So it got really confusing, to other fintech products that were out there. And hands down, NorthOne was the one that aligned most with the Profit First methodology and our culture that we want to promote with business owners.
And Eytan, I mean, Profit First is a big component of your organization's culture because how many Profit First books have you guys distributed to your employees?
Easily over 150. It's part of our standard curriculum for most of the team that designs and builds and touches the product, or some of our customer-facing teams, is to be pretty well versed in Profit First. It's part of your onboarding package. And it's just because we really want, to be not just talking about profit first, but understanding how to live it and understanding, the same words that every profit first entrepreneur has read some point in their lives when they first got the book, or heard about it. We want the same level of familiarity to exist within our team, and that's how we can work in lockstep with the profit first community to continually just build for what they need and let them let them do their thing and be more profitable and be successful ideally.
So as we recall in our 12 steps to implementing Profit First right, step number 1 is actually you don't have to get your butt to the bank. You can keep your butt on the couch and open up your NorthOne primary checking business account and then get your envelope set up. Step number 2 is, right away, make that automation of at least allocating 1% to your profit envelope. And step number 3 is then opening up your inconvenient bank account, which again, NorthOne realizes that importance of moving that money out of sight, out of mind. And so you guys actually make it way easy to get that money from your profit envelope and from your tax envelope into another bank where you have that inconvenient bank with the profit hold and tax hold account, right?
Absolutely. The goal for us is to, speed up the process of the profit first methodology, right? And we have many customers who make it instant in terms of funding those inconvenient accounts. So absolutely.
So we're moving to an inconvenient bank, but you make it real convenient. So that is amazing because I think a challenge that a lot of people face is if they've been with a traditional bank for their primary accounts, not only is the inconvenient bank, ideally just out of sight, out of mind, a 1 hour drive or difficult to get to and such, but sometimes it can present a challenge from your primary bank to get that money to your inconvenient bank. But NorthOne, you've got that dialed in. You have so many abilities to do the ACHs and even wire transfers. So that is awesome.
Yeah, it actually makes it easier to use the inconvenient bank because, one of the friction points that in my experience working with business owners prevents them from opening the inconvenient bank accounts is just how inconvenient it is to get the money into the account. So we want to make it easy to get the money into those inconvenient bank accounts, but not back out.
Right. So thanks for facilitating that, removing that friction.
And ultimately, for us, it's not about NorthOne, right? It's about the business owner. And that's what they need. And so it is like such an obvious, no regret move to say, if some people say, I need to get money out of this account quickly to preserve the health of my business, well, you can rest assured we're going to make that happen.
Well, thank you so much for building a product and an experience around Profit First, because this has been really unprecedented. As Billy Ann has stated in the past, lots of banks have come and said, hey, we want to partner with you. We can do this. We can do this. And it was like they were still trying to do things, just a little too rigid and not really offering all that flexibility. But there is one thing that we just want to be in full disclosure about, and that is that there is a fee with NorthOne, but it is well worth the nominal fee that they charge. And it's a different type of fee than what you would be charged at a traditional bank. So, Billy Ann, could you kind of help us dissect that?
Yeah, definitely. So the best way to position this is it's a technology use fee. And it's a very small technology use fee. So think of it kind of like an app subscription. If your QuickBooks Online subscription, let's say, or something like that, where you're actually paying for the technology and you're getting something in return for it, as opposed to bank fees where, I'm sure the banks would argue that you're getting something in return for that, but I've never been able to pin it down. So, and with NorthOne, there are no hidden fees. That technology use fee is the only amount that you are going to pay to NorthOne.
So does that include unlimited ACH and unlimited wire?
There is a wire fee, but ACH is unlimited.
And the wire fee really is, I don't think that money's not typically staying in the bank so much. I think it's like a national clearinghouse kind of requirement,
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
So, this technology fee, can we put a number to it so people know exactly?
Yeah.
So drum roll, Eytan.
It's $10 a month, right? And the idea is that it's trying to bring Netflix style pricing to banking. right? To this whole experience. We used to go to Blockbuster, you used to, rent a video for $4, and it would quickly add up to 9 if you were late, if you didn't rewind it, if all these other reasons. It's like that's like how it is in so many banks today, right? You think you're paying for one thing, and there's all these incidental fees that make you realize that you've just paid 5x what the sticker price was. And I think that's just fundamentally misaligned. So NorthOne, the fee that Billy Ann was referring to, it's $10 a month, and you do everything you want with the account. It doesn't go up. It will not go up for that reason. And I think that's been a nice point of consistency for our customers. They love the idea. I know exactly how to budget for what this thing is going to cost me over the course of the year, and that's a really great feeling for us to know that we've now reduced one other source of uncertainty in their mind, which is the bank account fees, which typically you don't even get an invoice, right? They embed it into your bank statements. It's really hard to figure it out, and hopefully we're trying to be really upfront about it and say, now you understand how much this will cost you, and the value around that will speak for itself.
And I think that's so cool that it's sort of, like you said, Netflix model pricing. So it's $10 a month, whether you start with the primary checking account, that's your income account, and then 4 envelopes. I mean, for $10 a month, you can have 4 envelopes, you can have 10 envelopes, you can have 15 envelopes. So, for that one $10 a month technology fee and access to the automation and the ability to ACH with like zero friction is amazing. And so, step number one, if you have not gotten your accounts established, then stay on the couch and log in to NorthOne and get that primary checking account opened, then build those 4 envelopes. And then as you get into the rhythm of Profit First and you start to see where the other opportunities are, when in doubt, add an envelope and add those other envelopes for marketing, for payroll, for whatever you need greater clarity on in terms of your cash. So if you go to profitfirstnation.com, we have a special link on step number 1 in our menu that will take you right to NorthOne so that you can get going on implementing NorthOne as your primary bank to be doing Profit First right. So thank you so much, Billy Ann and Eytan, for joining us here on the podcast. And you guys have a lot of exciting stuff in the works and are just, continually going to be making this an even greater experience as our businesses grow and become more profitable. So thank you so much, and cheers to another profitable day, my entrepreneurial friends. Profit First Nation website, related podcasts, and resources are provided for general information purposes only and do not constitute accounting, legal, tax, or other professional advice. Visitors should not act upon the content or information found here without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial planner, lawyer, or other professional.
Hey, this is Ro. And if you're a business owner struggling with hiring or just tired of doing it yourself, I highly recommend the Build Your Dream Team Secret Podcast series. There are 7 episodes packed with real stories from founders who've cracked the code on hiring, built high-performing teams, and finally got out of the day-to-day grind. My favorite part? It's not fluff. It's systems, strategy, and results. Text DREAM to 55444. That's DREAM to 55444 to check it out. You'll thank me later.